Okay, welcome. Now, I'm about to ditch the music. I think we're gonna go without it this week. I'm not really getting the bandwidth. So please let me know what's going on with the stream. Let me know if it's acting up, if it's being choppy, because I'm about to ditch the music in 3, 2, 1. Hopefully that alleviates everything. So we're gonna have kind of like the quiet background. Hey, what's up, G Rob? I know King David's in the chat already, and yeah, we're here. So it's 8:01. As promised, I'm here, and let's lift it up a little bit. All right, there we go. So we are here once again to what the fuck just happened. Hey, what's up, Antonio? I see you just popped up in here. So please let me know how is the stream going, because I'm seeing statistics that is going green, orange, red. It's all over the place. Yes, this is what the fuck just happened, episode 2. So we are live. I'm just giving some more people some more time as we get comfortable, and yeah, we are here. So okay, good. So that sounds fine. How's the video quality? I just want to make sure that is of of quality. Don't want no shit. Okay, good. All right, so sound good. We're good. All right, cool. All right, so welcome. This is episode 2 of What the Fuck Just Happened. And yeah, what the fuck did just happen? So basically, where we left off, pull up my notes, because the part that you guys don't see on first and frame rates, you're going to see on here, and that's organization from me. Now, it's just the way I like to run things. So I know last week I talked about the Clippers choking, and they're obviously out the playoffs because the Lakers are. I don't know if they play the Nuggets tonight or not, but I know the Celtics play the Heat tonight. You have. I talked about Washington, Philly. Not going to talk football tonight. Kind of did that yesterday, kind of a little tuckered out from that. We talked about Sony PlayStation last week, and this week let's talk some Xbox. So that's on the agenda for tonight. I brought up the Mandalorian. King Davis was like, I don't give a shit about that. So so there was no Star Wars news, but that's not gonna be a weekly thing. So with that being said, and I brought up some politics at the end. I think that if I'm gonna do that, that's gonna be at the end, because what I noticed is that everybody starts sneaking out when I got to that part. So I think we're gonna do that. So again, my name is it's actually DJ81, but I know on this channel is Evo325 because I tried to get DJ81 on here, and the last channel was D8J1, and I couldn't get into that. Had some issues. Created a new channel, started fresh, and here we are. So thank you for coming through. Again, G Rob, Antonio, King David, anybody else want to come through? I already shared it in the Discord, so hopefully some more people come in, and also on Twitter. So if you guys got any avenues that I haven't even checked out, please share the stream. Get your folks in here so we can let's talk about some stuff. So on the agenda today, again, check my notes. So the question I said earlier, what the fuck just happened? Yeah, we had a update get pushed out by No Man's Sky, which was their Origins update. Ongoing, we have stuff going on with NHL21. Their release date is about a month away, and we got some gameplay info, features and stuff like that. No next gen for NHL21. I think everyone knows that by now. And also, we're gonna take a look at the MLB Playoffs. They're debuting their new playoff format this year. So we're gonna look at that bracket as it stands right now. I know the Nationals are playing right now. They're getting beat by the Phillies 6-1, but we already took three out of 4 games, and virtually have Philly outside the playoffs again. So that's gonna be funny if the Phillies are not able to make the playoffs for a second straight year in a row because of us. So will NHL be on PC? As of right now, no. And that was funny. I should have looked at the Q&A, because there was a Q&A on Reddit about that, and they said that at this time there are no plans, which is kind of crazy, because the creative director literally sat there and said, if there's a demand for it on PC, let it be known. And I'm sure there were enough people that let it be known, but to hear that there are no plans, kind of crazy. So just like last week, got into the PS5. Actually, no, on the podcast on First and Frame Rates, we went into the PS5 pre-orders, and we kind of went into Xbox pre-orders. I'm gonna kind of go over that again, because that is a funny situation, especially with the mistakes that consumers are making in these pre-orders. I think that's pretty interesting. And we're gonna kind of wrap it up with something nuanced, because we had the indictment come down on one of the police officers in the shooting of Breonna Taylor. So I feel like I'm gonna bring a nuanced approach to this. You know, the thing about me is that I'm about balance. Try to look at everything and then just decide straight from the facts, because I feel a lot of people are emotional, and rightfully so, but we gotta look at this from a logical point of view. So let's start with No Man's Sky. Let me go to my screen here. So No Man's Sky Origins pushed out the update earlier today, and yeah, it was quite the update. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people jumping back on that probably wasn't playing it for a little bit. I know I'm one of those people that hasn't played in a while, was playing it just in preparation, just to, you know, get a last look at the universe before it changed again. You know, unfortunately for some, their saves were erased. I think that happened to select users. Not everybody got that. I know King David talked about he had a glitch in his permadeath save. I don't know. King David, did you just start up your permadeath save? Quite a few bugs, in some cases literal bugs. Yeah, because that was also the additions. There were bugs included. There are insects included in this update. So with that being said, let me use my phone, and I should have had this pulled up beforehand, but there we go, because I want to go through like an overview of what the Origins dropped as far as their update, and I want to actually use their site. I don't want to use anything else, so we're just gonna pull that up. I had it up on here originally. I'm about to be 0 for 3 looking up stuff. Not this week. We're getting W's this week. There we go. So we're pulling up. Just looking at this real quick, and I apologize that we're going with no music this week, because like I said, my internet is acting up. The 2.4 is going good, but the 5 gigahertz is just, I don't know what's going on with it. For some reason, I can't get it to connect to the internet when it was doing just fine. I don't know if I hit my data limit, or I don't know. It's just acting goofy. So for the Origins update, I need to look at the patch notes, because that's, there we go. That's what I need to look at. There we go. Alright, so obviously this is a procedurally generated. I don't mind not having music. I get that some people don't like music in the background, but I'm the type that I gotta operate within rhythm, and silence sometimes throws me off. And I'm not, like, if I'm having a conversation with somebody, like if I'm out on a date, I definitely like music to be playing in the background. Kind of sets the mood, you know, creates a rhythm going. You know, to operate from silence is just awkward. But I'm forced to do it this week because of the internet. So, okay, so with No Man's Sky being procedurally generated, obviously it's supposed to produce different planets. We can talk about the art style first and foremost, because that's the first thing that you notice with this update is the art style. The art style kind of takes you back. That's what it kind of reminds you. It's named Origins for a reason. It kind of takes you back to 2016 when this game originally launched. And I don't know if anybody saw my stream on launch day back in 2016, but a lot of the colors just pop. Like the reds, your fluorescence, your I had a couple of pictures I had 4 pictures that I shared on Twitter earlier, and it's like that's the biggest thing that pops out to me is the colors. It's a very artistic look. It's kind of, I remember how 2016 was, but this is a 2020 version of what 2016 was. And then just also talking about 2016, there were different elements of planets that you went on that were different. Like the planet that I'm on right now that I call home actually has water, like underwater caverns, which I remember there being there a lot in 2016. As I played the game with each update, it seemed like it went away from that. I'm like added some like the grassy knolls and stuff like that, but you kind of lost the coloring. You kind of lost the things that popped. It kind of just doled out. So let's see. G-Rob says never played this game. A lot of people probably didn't play this game. And okay, here's the reason why people were turned off from this game in the first place. Sean Murray lied to people when it initially came out. When this game originally dropped, Sean Murray promised everybody you was gonna have multiplayer. There was gonna be these big animals that you was gonna all a part of this procedurally generated universe, and it didn't happen. Because when the game launched, there was nothing in it. It was barren, except for the art, the colors, and stuff like that. I'm like, the planets, they formed like they were supposed to form. You didn't really have a story. You kind of just, played the game. You didn't know what the hell you were doing. There's nothing really going on. So that turned a lot of people off. And of course, when you lie to people, EA, and Sony, that turns people off. It pisses people off too. So, all right. So King David, he's like, the visual pop was the first thing I noticed as well as some of the new creatures and environments. And that's gonna lead me to these creatures, because I've seen the beetles, and I've seen the butterfly looking insects. I haven't seen anything else yet, but I noticed that the herd moves differently, unlike they were moving before. Some of the pre-existing animals. I know they cleaned up the UI. The UI looks way better now. I'm like, you talk about a game that had an incomplete UI for like several updates. I feel like that UI is now complete. I think that UI is doing work. It's clean. They've streamlined a bunch of items so that you don't have to. So it like clears up your inventory space. So that was a good thing. The environments overall with the colors. Okay, so let me see. King David says, I've seen some stuff that burrows and pops out from underground. Sandworms, but not like the huge one, smaller ones. Yeah, I noticed that in the video on the No Man's Sky site when the trailer that you got have some animals that will just burrow out and then they'll come back in. But I don't want to come across that worm. Because remember, that was the worm. That was the first. You know, it's funny because that worm was the big lie in the 2016 trailer, the E3 trailer back then. Everyone thought that we were supposed to get this giant worm that was supposed to crawl across the sand and everything, and that didn't happen. People lost their shit. So, but the environment, the colors and everything, the environment, especially during storms, oh God, huge difference. I will say they are doing weather better than EA's football game. The cloud formations when it starts to storm, actually, it literally goes from, like, if it's like a fair, clear day, the clouds, like when they say storm incoming, whatever storm type it is, blizzard, firestorm, heated rain, whatever, the clouds form, they get thicker, and it closes off. You don't see a clear sky anymore. You see a overcast sky and nothing but whatever rain, snow, fire. In some cases, I have yet to come across that, but I'm sure I will as I play through the game. And I've seen, as I've shown, I was able to capture some lightning bolts, and apparently you can be struck by lightning for this update. The only other game that I've seen that happen was the Division 2. I think I took a picture where I was just patrolling along the streets of DC. All of a sudden, this lightning strike, like, right in front of me, like, pow! And I'm just like, damn. The fact that I was able to capture it, like, it was, I captured it on video, and then I had to take a screenshot, a still shot of a moment in the video just to capture the fact that this streak of lightning hit this transformer and blew it up. So you can be struck by lightning. I don't know what the chances are. They're probably small, just like in real life, but that is crazy. All right, King David Create says, oh yeah, I'm seeing cloud stuff now. Again, I'm just impressed with how far the game has come with is why I have mad respect for the devs. I'm like, yeah, I have mad respect for the devs too. I also have mad respect that they took accountability for the lies they told initially. And really, it was just one. It was just Sean Murray. Like, the dev team, it wasn't the dev team that was out there that was caught in a lie. It was Sean Murray that was caught in a lie. So, and then, because I remember they went silent for like a year and some change. So they had a lot of explaining to do, and these free updates, man, no, maybe minimum. I think there's been minimal microtransactions, maybe none in this game with all these updates, which is kind of crazy. Oh, another thing, weather-wise, tornadoes. I have yet to come across one. I thought I saw one about to form, and it didn't. But apparently there are tornadoes in this game, and God forbid, if you get caught in it, we don't. I was discussing this with Fight earlier, and we were trying to figure out how far would that tornado throw your character if you get caught up in it, because you can get caught up in the tornado. And then I wonder if the tornado, if you're in your ship and the tornado gets to you, will it toss your ship too? And then also, if you have a base built, will it tear up your base? They gotta answer that for me. I'm not gonna. I definitely want to find out on my own. I don't want to find out by watching other people's videos. That would be just ruining the experience altogether. Oh, and also there are comets that crash into the planet. I saw a shooting star off in the distance while I was in photo mode. I was like, damn, you really are giving us all this for the this is just like a portion of the update. All right, what does King David say? It says Sean Murray actually, when all the threats and shit were happening, pushed everything to his personal account so the dev team could just focus on work. Hey, he fell on the sword. I'm like, he was the one out there doing the talking, and he rightfully so, he fell on the sword. I'm like, that was one of those things where, you know, you talked the big game, and it turned out to not turn out that way in 2016. But sometimes it's not how you start, it's how you progress. Because this game obviously isn't finished. I'm like, everybody thought it was finished with the second or third update, even with the last one that put it on Xbox. And yeah, they're not done. But this is, I'm like, so far this is pretty good. And I'm like, this update goes into binary and ternary stars. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's supposed to create a new pattern in the sky. You can actually, and with it being binary systems, meaning 2 stars, and I think ternary, maybe, I don't know what I'm not even going to try to define what ternary stuff, but binary means 2 stars. So you can get a scene out of Tatooine from Star Wars in a photo mode. That would be pretty cool. I already felt like I was in Dagobah on the planet I was before I claimed the home planet, and it goes right back into the environment. The fact that I got on this planet and I felt like I was landing on Dagobah. It wasn't dark or anything. I think it was nighttime when I landed on the planet. But the fact that you could tell it was a swampy marsh versus a plush planet like the one I landed on, with plenty of water, coastal stuff like that. Have yet to try any other planets. I started out on a snowy planet, so I quickly got my ship repaired and just took off. All right, so G-Rob is like, I need to watch vids on this to see what it's about. What I'm gonna do with No Man's Sky, because I had posted an update on my channel when No Man's Sky Origins came out, which it's out now. I was gonna start up a series, so you will have a place to go to be able to watch these videos. What I'm gonna do is that I'm going to start up another save. It's going to be normal. It's not going to be permadeath, because apparently there are bugs that will kill your permadeath gameplay. I have 2 permadeath saves, one on PS4 and the other one on PC. And I'm going to do normal, because if you die, you can spawn back and not lose anything. You just be generation 2. So King Davis is like, that killed me. So yeah. So G-Rob, I will be posting No Man's Sky Origins vids. I would say be patient with them as you're watching, because I don't like to edit. So but I will try to keep those videos to like maybe 10 minutes each. I think that's only fair, because with the crafting and with the way the game plays, it's not a game that has a lot of action. Like, if you're trying to get busy in the game, it's a chill type of game. You're not going to be fighting everything and everybody. It does have a crime system, or like a crime level when it comes to the droids that are on the planets, if there are any. But let's see. King David says No Man's Sky is a chill exploration crafting type game. Exactly, it's like that. So, and it has its own soundtrack, but I'm like, shoot, you know how to hook it up on the PC, you know how to hook it up on the PS4, Xbox. Play your music in the background as you're playing. Hell, I've played Star Wars with No Man's Sky, and it fits exactly. So, let's see. King David is. It's like, there is some combat, but it's not the focus. And it's funny because I swear to God, they dropped that update. I remember I was playing, what's that game? Damn, I can't even remember the name of the game. Oh, okay. Antonio says, I have a question about 2K1 Next Gen. Go ahead and ask your question, but I don't know how much I'll be able to answer, because we haven't seen anything as far as 2K21 on Next Gen. All we know is that it's supposed to be built from the ground up, according to their devs. So we'll see how that. According to your question, we'll see. I'll see how much I'm able to answer. But yeah, No Man's Sky so far. Let's see other things. Dramatic landscapes. Like I said, when I landed on this planet, I felt like I was on Dagobah. I haven't named the planet yet, but I think I'm gonna name it Dagobah. It just reminds me of that. So let's see what other stuff. Yeah, that just to go back to that giant worm. Ooh, will I stream it? That's if I get a PS5 console. I'm like, where I'm not attempting to do any pre-orders because right now I'm not jumping through hula hoops and pressing F5 just to be caught in a rat race to get a console. I got a PC. I got a gaming PC, and I'm playing 2K21, current gen, on my PC, and now my PS4, because I did get the Mamba edition on PS4, and I will be getting that upgrade. You know, no extra $10 here or whatever. So I pretty much have double dipped on 2K21. I don't even know what the hell's going on with that game, because apparently people pissed off about something else, just like, you know, what's going on with Madden. So, you know, apparently Madden people can't catch that play in comp mode, because that's all I've seen. And we talked about that last night on First and Frame Rate. So, all right. So again, just back to No Man's Sky. Let's see. Is there other players traveling around with you? You can. Okay, yeah. That's another thing. No Man's Sky definitely has multiplayer, but here's the best news. It's cross-platform. So I could be on PC, you can be on PS4, you can be on Xbox, whatever. We can get like up to, 4 people in a group? 4, 8? I think the max is 4 in a group, and we could all travel together. Be like one little gang. So, yeah, you can do that. And there are random players that you can run into. They actually have a hub that if you're on it, that acts as a server, a local server for the game. And when you go in, it puts you in one of their servers where I think it's up to like 30 some people in that server. And you can there are missions that you can sign up for. You can get people you can invite people to those missions. You can invite people in your group. You can add people that are. See, they have it set up when you're on consoles. You have your friends list, but if you're adding somebody that is on a different console or a different platform like PC, I don't even know if this is out for. I don't think this is out for the Switch at all, but they have No Man's Sky friends list. And you'll always be able to invite people from one of those two lists. So you'll always have a possibility of linking up with people. But if you're planning on linking up with people, yeah, you can definitely do that. Let's see. God, this feels so weird without music. I'm just afraid that the thing is gonna go boom, and and this stream is gonna go bust. So, now they did talk about that's alien fauna. We did talk about the creatures earlier. So, cloud weather, talked about that. Marshes, yep, talked about that. Felt like I was landing in Dagobah. Photo mode, they definitely allow you to play with the fog, the cloud cover, sun. Some of the previous stuff that was on photo mode, they definitely added some other stuff. Planet color variety, yes, it's kind of back to like 2016 the way it was, so I'm glad they did that. I haven't done anything with the teleporters. Like I said, I started fresh. I kind of jumped on one of my normal saves on PS4, but then wanted to jump on PC because my PC performs better than my PS4 Pro. I'd rather do that. And let me see, I haven't come across the colossal building archives or the historical stories. I haven't done any of that. Infestations, let me see, a number of planets have become infested with anomalous life forms and vegetative growths. Take extreme caution while exploring such planets. I think I may have come across extreme vegetation, but that thing was huge, and I think it was on the Dagobah planet I was on. No, it was on the first Was it on the first planet? Yeah, it was on the first planet that I was on. So, trying to see anomalous buildings. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. They got volcanoes. They have active volcanoes in this game. I need to see one of these. Okay, let me see. I'm like missing chats. I'm sorry. King David just said, I would like to say I just saw some crazy tentacle shit burst out the ground. Did it attack you? Oh shit. Wow. Yeah. That game is gonna. I'm like, it definitely is gonna add something to permadeath mode. Like I said, fix them bugs. Fix some bugs. I will be in permadeath mode. I would definitely not stream it live, but I will have a video series with that. The other video series I'm waiting for is State of Decay 2 when their update 21 drops and that customizable difficulty. Once that drops, I will have 2 series going on YouTube. Facts. So he says he's keeping. King David is like, I'm keeping my distance. You damn right. I'm like, you see anything come out the ground, keep your distance. So once again, No Man's Sky now has active volcanoes. So now the fact that you have active volcanoes, but then the firestorms on top of that. See, storms on extreme temperature worlds now sometimes ignite fire on planet's surface. That's gonna be crazy to land on a planet and you feel like you're in Mustafar. Shit. I'm like, Murray does like Star Wars. I'm like the fact again, I felt like I was landing on Dagobah, and if I land on this planet and it has an active volcano and it has a fire, I feel like I'm okay. It said new items and crafting. I'll come across that as it says shattered pulsating gels, discovery solar mirror, magnetic resonator, amino chamber, hydraulic wiring, and quantum whatever. Of course, I'll come across that as I continue to play. I'll probably play some more tonight. Enhanced terrain detail. You'll probably really notice that on the PC more than you do on the console. So, and probably more on Xbox One X, which people bought by accident over the Series X. I'll talk about that later. Enhanced planet quality settings, and that's more of a PC thing. So, and I have everything on Ultra, but I'm playing in 1080p because I have a 1080p monitor, and I'm not a gold chain gamer. I just definitely like what I like. I'm satisfied with what I'm getting performance wise. I'm good. So, but yeah, other than that, the UI is a little cleaner. Meteors I talked about, shooting stars. I wonder if you can get struck by a meteor. I wonder what are the chances of that. That would be crazy. Yeah, so King David was like, yeah, the visuals seem a little better. Yeah? Yep, talked about tornadoes, lightning. Yeah, let's see, planetary NPCs. They said that apparently the NPCs now could literally like land, get out their ships on the planet instead of, because with the last update, they were already on the planet. You had to like fix their ship or trade with them, and then they would get in their ship and take off. Now they can actually land, get out their ship, do whatever, or you'll come across a place where they're going like traveling back and forth. So I've yet to come across that. That's gonna be interesting. Multi-tool upgrades. I'll check that out once I come across that. It's a bug's life. So, oh yeah, and I forgot about it. Wild robots. So if you land on some rare uncharted planets, you'll come across some synthetic creatures. So you may want to bring your mech, is what I'm saying. Is what they're trying to tell you too. Let's see. Alright, so King David is like, traders that can flat out land on the surface, you can trade with them. Yep. So it's actually, you get into, if you want to role play in No Man's Sky, you can definitely be a trader, and you could have a landing pad, multiple landing pads, have a whole like situation going on, and have people you come trade with people and everything. So yeah, playing Horizons. Elite Dangerous was the game, because I was gonna talk about dogfighting, because I had a video way back in the day, when I was dissatisfied with the dogfighting in No Man's Sky, and I was like, I recorded gameplay of Elite Dangerous and how that dogfight went, and now No Man's Sky does exactly that. So I don't think they saw my video. I'm not that big headed, but I believe they knew they were missing out on the AI dogfights, because the dogfights now in No Man's Sky, I'm good. I'm good with them. I like what I can do now. I literally do the Han Solo thing, fly into an asteroid field, weave in and out, duck, and come up from behind and start shooting people. So I do all that. And also, those are from my F-15 Strike Eagle 2 days on the Tandy 1000 back in the 80s and 90s. So, okay, sandworms, and the rest are just pretty much patch notes. So, my overall impressions of the Origins update is 2 thumbs up. I definitely like it. I can't wait to play more of it. And yeah, I'm looking to create a series for it on YouTube, so be on the lookout. That will be there shortly. So we move on from No Man's Sky, and let's talk about NHL21. Not much to really talk about NHL21. It's coming. So it's supposed to come out October 16th. So middle of next month. Originally it would come out in September, but devs came out earlier, and hey, what's up, Villain? That's I forgot who Villain is. I'm like, I forgot who he really is. Yeah, okay, Doug. All right. Hey, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I definitely appreciate you stopping by. Let's see. All right, so Antonio already asking, do you think it would be even better than 20? I don't know. Okay. There are things that I want to see from this game. Like, one of the things they showcased was the offensive moves that you can do to get around your defense, get around one-on-one situations, like being able to like slightly push the puck and get around a defender, kind of like they call it a glide, slide, and whatever the features that they're calling it, which I think is cool. I think I could do that now on 20. I had to finagle it a little bit. Sometimes you can accidentally have that happen. You could just, because it's one of those things where you can literally poke check the puck, push it, and then hopefully you don't trip up the person that is trying to retrieve the puck, and then get around them, and then pick it up that way. At least you'll be able to pull these moves off on purpose, not something you have to finagle. So they have moves like that. They have the Michigan goal scoring attempt, and I don't think they've really answered what's the defense against that. Like, not just the goaltender, but what's the defender to do if somebody were to do that? Like, if there's a defender there and somebody tries to do it, can they knock this puck off his stick, or is it magnetized to a stick? That's going to be interesting to find out. You know, I did play the technical test, but I only played human versus human, and that game was moving way too fast. I'm like, the only way I could stay in that game is if I got the puck, and I literally slowed it down, because the other dude was just going like a mile a minute. It was like, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's not how hockey is. That's not how, okay, I never played the sport, but I've watched it for so long. Hockey doesn't move that fast on TV. Watching from TV, hockey doesn't move that fast. So when I play it and without messing with sliders and whatnot, players are moving 100 miles per hour, and that's not the way they're supposed to go. But being able to get past defenders, that's something they've always been working on every single year. The Michigan goal, that's going to be interesting. How do you defend that? As not necessarily as mainly goaltending, but but also as a defender, if you're like, can you knock it off his stick or whatever? Hopefully there's a defense other than the goaltender being in the right spot. They don't have any new systems. They've been stuck on this. We've only been doing these systems for like these offensive and defensive systems for almost a decade, and it's making me sick, honestly. All right, so Antonio's like, have you ever turned commentary off or no? You asked me that before. I don't like to turn off commentary. I can't. Like, I have to have somebody talking about the game as I'm playing it, because that's part of the immersion of the game. I'm like, I know turning off the commentary gives you the feeling of being at the game, because all you're hearing is the PA announcers, the players, the sound effects, all that. But me, well, honestly, I haven't been to a hockey game, but at the same time, it's I like to have the full broadcast experience, because that's been my experience with hockey the whole entire time. That's my experience with a lot of sports. I'm like, oh damn, Philly's up 12-1. Jesus Christ. Well, we took 3 out of 4 and possibly knocked them out the playoffs. I'm happy with that. So, yeah, I want the full television broadcast experience. So, all right. So Doug is like, I'm thinking about getting NHL21, but it's been so long since I played. Last time I played was NHL 16, and there's definitely gonna be some differences. I know they're not doing the next gen version, but apparently this one you can forward play into next gen, so you can play it on the PS5 or the Xbox Series X. Again, we're gonna talk about that later. People are just, reading is fundamental when you shop online. Everybody forgets, buyer beware. So, but yeah, NHL 21 should be quite the difference from NHL 16. So yeah, I think you'll be happy. But what I was talking about earlier was the fact that they're still, I'm like, the one thing that will not be that will be exactly the same is your offensive and defensive systems. Your let's see if I can rattle off some. Your 1-3-1 neutral zone traps, your 1-2-2 red blue, your 3-2, your weak side lock, your 1-4, I did 1-2-2 red and blue, and then on offense, overload, back of the net, crash the net, really, and then on power play, it's umbrella, shooting, overload, that's it. On defense, on power plays, it's large box, small box, diamond, that's it. Pressures, high pressure, attack the puck, normal, contain puck, protect the net, forecheck, okay, yeah, press, whatever, it's like on a slider or sit back are the two options there. It's just so much. The fact that I'm able to rattle off this just lets you know that this has been the exact same offensive and defensive systems throughout the whole. There are way more systems, especially on the power play. Like, I cannot mimic what the Capitals are usually do on the power play, to where Ovechkin is set up on the left hand side, slot, sometimes low slot, high slot, and one timer. With Backstrom, which I've only been able to pull off maybe one time between him and Backstrom. The little cross pass or the workaround pass where they get it to Carlson at the blue line, and then he chips it to Ovechkin, one timer, top left, top or mid left. Sometimes he'll throw the goaltender off because the goaltender is crossing to his right, and Ovechkin will one time it to his left, and he's just dead and buried. I'm like, there are other players that operate a little bit lower that would just tap it in because they're right there in front of the goaltender on his blind spot. But NHL used to have a system where you can create your plays. They said that there's a reason why they're not able to do it, and it kind of messes up their current programming, which, to tell you the truth, one of the things that they said is supposed to be improved is the AI support level, like what they do to support your movements. Like if you're doing a quick breakout, they'll support you better. They won't just not react, or they won't react too late. I felt like a lot of times in 20, where I'm just urging people, hey, skate with me. I like a lot of one-timers are to be had, but I see a lot of people just hang back like, ugh, all right, I'll go. It didn't make any sense. Even though you could adjust the AI tendencies, but it was frustrating. I couldn't get the offense going the way you would see on TV. Board play is still kind of the same, and I feel like NHL 21, they don't really make it organic enough. Like a lot of, like when you watch a hockey game on TV, the game gets stalled out on the boards. Like they literally gang up, and it's like 4 people going for the puck. One person, the person protecting, he's up against the glass. He's protecting the puck with his skate. He's like trying to keep it away. They're poking at his skates. Sometimes they trip him up, but of course they're not going to call tripping on that because it's not blatant. Everyone knows he's going for the puck. And then eventually, it organically disintegrates, and then, play starts again. You have players who like to, circle back and then re-engage the play. And currently in NHL, it's all up. It's mostly up and down. And if you play good enough defense, maybe you'll get the AI to circle back. But I feel like they make the game, and I feel like with NHL 21, they may have improved that a little bit. They may have worked on the game to help to make it a little bit better for players like myself that play the AI, that play like the franchise mode, and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens when that game comes out. There's not much else you can really talk about. I feel like the online modes are good, but I'm not an online guy too much. Like I don't play the World of Chell, even though that's a great idea. I've played it a little bit. The EA SHL is a good thing. I know they've added a practice mode to it, which, some people were asking for that for quite some time. So I think they finally got it. But we're not gonna stay on NHL too long. It's supposed to come out October 16th, so we'll see when the game releases. We'll see what's going on. So, all right. So, the game probably just wrapped up between the Nationals and Phillies. Phillies are gonna win that game, but we basically won the series. So let's talk about the MLB Playoffs. So they have a new system. They have a new playoff season, and this is what it looks like right now. This was as of when I grabbed this picture. This was as of 8 hours ago. So seedings may have moved around, teams may have moved around, but as we speak right now, these are your matchups. So I rattled them off a little bit towards the end on first and frame rates. So, okay, so Antonio's was 20 a great game in your opinion, or no? I wouldn't say a great game because they're like I just talked about. I just think that a lot of the systems they need to add more offensive strategies. They don't have the real coaches in the game, which is not a problem because they literally have, in the franchise mode, their own made up fictional coaches. And guess what? There are women that could coach in the game that can be randomly generated. Ha, take that, NBA 2K. They already on current gen figured out that they can put women in a coaching position and do it correctly. So Doug, you really think this Mlb playoffs is going to be exciting? I'm like, I think I could agree for the fact that you have a multitude of teams. It's 16 teams total, 8 on each side. You have your American League side and you have your National League side. So I haven't really been, so like my overall thoughts about this season, I don't like this microwave bullshit. So it doesn't really, I couldn't give you an individual blow by blow breakdown of each game, but this format is pretty interesting. So let me look up, let's see. Yeah, Doug is like, yes, because more teams, more drama. Let's see, what I was looking at. The fact that the Houston Astros in it, I think the A's need to do the world a favor and knock their ass out. So if I would like pick the first, the Houston Astros need to leave. Like they need to be automatically disqualified. I don't even know why that should have been part of the punishment. They could no longer qualify for the playoffs for the next 2 years. They could be like they could have like 162 wins next year. Nope. Automatic DQ because you cheated. And your title from 2017 gone. Thank God for the Nationals last year taking your asses out, cheating ass bitches. So anyway, I'm done with my rant because Astros are ass. Rightfully so, they get taken out by the A's. Boy. So let's look at. So if I'm not mistaken, yeah, everybody was pissed when they found out about 2017. They were royally pissed. A lot of Dodgers fans, man. Yes, yeah. And your Dodgers are sitting there at it again. So I feel like the Dodgers may pull this one out finally. I think they may get it this time. But let's look at the nitty gritty of this MLB playoff system. There we go. Let me just look this up real quick because it's supposed to be chaotic. And anybody in the chat, if you can, okay, so if you can help, if you guys are more than welcome to help me out with finding out what the. Oh, here we go. I'm like here's the one interesting thing. These are neutral site games. Mainly Arlington. I read them off last night on First Frame Rate. So, and even if we win, it's not gonna count. Yeah, you're right, because I did consider this year's World Series champs not legit. You know, have an asterisk, shortened season. Still, your defending champs going into 2021 will be your Washington Nationals. Who debuted Soto in right field? I wonder if they're setting up for a free agent to come in. But I'm like, yeah, we didn't give a fuck about this season. We literally was like, all right, go ahead. Yeah, we just won't play in the playoffs. They did not give a fuck about this 60 game bullshit. I'm like, we on First and Frame Rates, which we do go live Tuesdays and Thursdays on YouTube, 7:30-ish Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Myself, VF, Bills, we go live, talk about sports video gaming. We have talked about the playoff format in a previous episode, but we also talked about the season length, and and Scott OG, if you're watching, I'm glad you jumped in. And it was one of those things where it's just like, you gotta have. I think the consensus was you can reduce it to 100 games, and or 100. Yeah, I would say 102. Yeah, 100 games, and just have at it. Because right now, the way the league is now set up, the way the sports are set up now, you're going to have basketball playing throughout the summer. You're going to have hockey playing throughout the summer. This COVID situation has changed a lot of things. And now, summers are going to be full of sports. It's not just going to be baseball occupying everybody's time or not occupying everyone's time. It's going to be baseball, it's going to be baseball, basketball, and hockey throughout the whole summer, unless they find a way to shift everything back. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to find a way. All right, so this format. So obviously, 16 teams make it. Okay, they determine who makes it. Okay, so the first round. Let's see, in each league, I'm just reading this real quick because obviously I didn't do my homework. See, this is what happens when you don't do your homework. You try to figure out on the fly because I sure enough did not look any of this up before I got here. Yeah, COVID changed the game up. Yeah, they did. For other sports, probably for the better. For baseball, we have already chatted about that on First and Frame Race, that maybe baseball could be drying up a bit. They need to come up with something drastic. So, let's see. First round runs from Tuesday, September 29th through Friday. So, next week is when these playoffs start, just to let you guys know. Games will be played on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So, let's see. Postseason unfold for the same way as with his 4 best of 5, followed by 2 best, and then World Series best of 7. Let's see. The teams will not be reseeded after the first round, meaning that the winner of the 1-8 series will play the winner of the 4 and 5. So, teams won't be reseeded. All right, so Doug is like 100 games, and this playoff format might save baseball. They're going to have to do something within the game itself. It's not necessarily the 100 games. It's the pacing of the game. I think people will just have a problem with the pacing of the game. Like, they're doing things to try to speed up the game. They were thinking about doing a pitch clock. You know how, like, the NBA has a shot clock? They were thinking about a pitch clock. So, you would have to pitch the ball within 30 seconds. Or, I don't know. They never shared what the penalty would be. But I would just be like, look, if you don't pitch this in 30 seconds, it's an automatic ball. So... And then, obviously, if you want to intentionally walk somebody, you just say, "Hey, go ahead, walk them." But if you don't get that pitch off in 30 seconds, it's a ball. Period. If there's a runner on base instead of a ball, nope, runner advances. I would do that. All right, so Antonio is like, you heard that the next NBA season could start in January. Yeah, I heard that, and that's why I think the shift in the NBA, actually, no. I'm hearing that, well, actually, according to right now, it's not necessarily January, but I think because of the protests that stopped games for like a few days, I know the finals are going to be played in October, and that, according to NBA 2K right now, the games could start in December, but I'm like, I heard January. I heard March, possibly. Yeah, you never know. But let's see. So yeah, so after the first round, teams won't be reseeded. So the brackets that you see here, you pretty much like, if Tampa were to beat the Blue Jays, fuck the Blue Jays, by the way. This comes from a former Orioles fan, by the way. Fuck the Yankees too. But I would say the Yankees would beat the Twins. And then fuck the Yankees in the next round. So, but it would be Tampa Bay versus New York if that would have happened. They wouldn't reseed it. NHL does the reseeding. I know The NFL does it, NHL does it, NBA doesn't do it. And this thing did say, did they mention? Yeah, it said unlike the NFL, so good. I'm glad they didn't say that. So where were those games? After the first round, baseball goes into a bubble of sorts. Okay, so the first round, teams will play at their home. Whoever's hosting will host the series, I believe. So it's a best of, I guess it's a best of 3 in that first round. So whoever wins 2 wins. The first to win 2, if you win 2 games in a best of 3, if you win 2, you move on. But the higher ranked team will be hosting all the games. So, with the whole COVID situation, they don't want to move everybody. Let's see. So Doug is like, what about just have DHs for both leagues? They're already doing that. That's what they're doing now. Instead of pitchers hitting, which I hate because the reason why I hate it because I'm a traditionalist of sorts when it comes to baseball. I want my leagues to be different because of strategy. Now, I remember I was debating somebody about this, not anybody on the podcast, somebody who also streams on Twitch, and he presented a stat, well, actually, he presented a number out of nowhere. And I asked him, I was like, how did you come up with this number? And it was basically a statistic that was the average of pitchers, like the batting average of pitchers that so it was kind of like backing up the fact that pitchers are automatic out. I got that whole gist of, and that's the attitude, and that's true. But there were creative things that people did with pitchers, and then there were some pitchers that could hit. So that's why I like the National League brand of baseball, because it presented double switching, it presented sacrifices that normally wouldn't happen if you were playing with all DHs. But this dude presented a number, and I was just like, all right, so so I can see the same thing you're seeing. Where did you get those numbers? Where do I need to go to get these numbers to add up to the number you got? He never gave me any proof. I mean, he says he did the work, but never showed me this proof. So I didn't believe that stat for that reason. Just for the simple fact that you couldn't show me the work. And then he got mad. It was like, I don't need to show you anything. Who are you? That was the attitude. He didn't say who are you, but it was one of those things. He had an attitude about it, and then I said something in the lines of, well, don't trust everything you hear. You see what happened when the reports came out initially about Kobe, and then all of a sudden, person got mad, told me to go fuck myself, and and that was that. He also tried to send a couple of people my way. That didn't work. Somebody tried to say, hey, Twitter, you know what to do, and nothing happened. The only comment that one of those other people got was me responding, laughing, because nobody did a goddamn thing. I'm just a little Twitter user making their way around the Twitterverse, and you couldn't do anything to stop me at that point. So yeah, it was funny for all that to happen. And then nothing to happen as a result to me, because nothing was going to happen to me, because anybody who read that whole thread understood that all I did was just ask for proof. That's what I urge people to do. If somebody presents you with any stats, any whatever, ask how they came up with that stat. They can give you links to websites and stuff like that. That's good too. But if they're able to show you the work, that's great. But if they don't show you anything, don't just let them tell you anything. They can tell you the moon is green. You gonna believe that? If you're wearing green goggles, you may, but I'm just saying, take off the goggles. So, but yeah. So the first round is gonna be basically the top higher ranked team is gonna host all 3 games, and then it goes into a bubble by the next round. So I think the sites are Arlington, Damn, I had a bracket that had. I think they have it here. Um. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Minute Maid Park is one in Arlington, Texas, at Globe Life Field. Let's see. So Dodger Stadium, because LA is one of the sites. And it's funny because the Dodgers aren't going to be playing there. Well, they're going to host the first round, but then they're going to leave LA. Oh, actually, it looks like they're leaving LA to. Oh God, that's not making any sense. All right, so King David, while I'm trying to figure this all out in my head, King David's expecting proof and sources on Twitter. We all know that's not how 90% of Twitter works. It's like, Finn, that's not how the force works. So it's LA, Houston, Arlington, and I think the World Series will take place in Arlington, I believe. Yep, it will take place in Arlington. So after the first round, everything is neutral site, and it boggles my mind that the Dodgers after the first round won't be playing in LA at any point. If somebody's looking at the bracket with the locations on there, let me know, because I could be wrong. Like, if I can find proof myself, I would definitely. Oh, you know what? Just go to MLB. I saw it on MLB.com. Let me look there. Those have the location on there. I'm going there now. We're gonna go standings. Let's see, postseason standings. Nope, I want to see a bracket. Thank you. All right, so there we go. So LA will not after. Yeah, this is crazy. So, okay, the bracket with the Dodgers will stay in Arlington the whole entire time after the first round. That first round is the Dodgers are gonna be at their own stadium, I believe, or is it all? No, I think. Hold up. Let me look at this again. I may have to hold up. Going on Twitter, look at this, because the way it sits. The Dodgers are the Arlington bracket part of the bracket. The Braves are in the Houston part of the bracket, and then the NLCS is in Arlington. The ALCS is in San Diego, in which the White Sox bracket is in Los Angeles, and the Devil Rays bracket, or the Rays bracket, is in San Diego. So anybody want to tell me why LA got crapped on in this one? Houston, same thing. They don't get to play in Houston. They don't get to play in Houston at all. But fuck them anyway. So yeah, that's kind of crazy how that's working. All right, so I think we spent enough time on this MLB playoffs. It seems like it's going to be interesting. You know, Nationals not going to be playing in it, but we technically still will be the defending champs no matter who gets crowned, because nobody acknowledges a champion that won only in a 60-game season. So good luck to good luck to the team that wins it, because they'll have an asterisk next to the name. Other than that, I will take off my hat. We are still your champions all the way through 2021. Screw that. Screw the 60-game season. Anyway, all right, so we did talk about the Xbox pre-orders a little bit. Well, we talked about it a bunch on First and Frame Rates, and yeah, let's talk about. So overall, I will say that Microsoft did a better job than Sony as far as communication, organization. And I think it's the fact that they didn't have as many units available for pre-orders as as Sony did, is why Microsoft still experienced some craziness going on, not just with their site, also Best Buy, Target, Amazon, all the sites. I hit the mic by accident. I'm sorry. But a little cleaner coming from Microsoft, except, and this is the user fault here. There was a 746% increase in, I guess, in total sales or sales in the Xbox One X. Let's rewind this back about maybe when they was naming this console, and when they named it the Series X, didn't everybody chime in with, hey, when Johnny or Cindy sends their parents to, or either their parents want to buy them a console and they decided on a Microsoft product and they want to get their son or daughter or whatever they want to call them an Xbox, don't you think there may be some confusion by a parent that may not know the difference between the two? They see an Xbox, they grab it. Well, that's what, as we fast forward to current ongoings, that's exactly what took place. And it wasn't just the parents that were trying to buy Xboxes for their sons and daughters and whatever they call them. You see, I'm being 2020 compliant here. So, they were also buying it for themselves and accidentally pre-ordering. Or even so, wouldn't something say, hey, expect this Xbox One X to be at your doorstep in about a couple of days or maybe a week? Wouldn't that kind of chime off like, hey, maybe I ordered the wrong thing? But even so, just to name it the Series X and not give it a totally different name for next gen console is what led to this. Is why this is going on. People are confused. People knew folks were going to be confused, and here we are. People were confused. They bought the Series. They bought the One X. See, I was about to make that mistake. They bought the One X thinking it was the Series X. The funny thing is, this wasn't happening with the One S or the Series S. There wasn't a mistake there. Everyone knew the difference. So it's crazy on that end, and that's where Microsoft can take an L on that part. They took a W. They got the W on the communication organization. They got that right. They got the W, and that was really by default because Sony. I'm like, they at one moment they said, hey, pre-orders are gonna start tomorrow, but then Walmart was like, hold my beer, we're going right now. It's like, fuck it, we're going live, like Bill O'Reilly back in the day. But yeah, and because Walmart went ahead, everyone else had to go ahead, and then Sony's like, fuck, I told these bastards that, like, I felt like the moment Walmart went ahead and with the pre-orders for the PS5s, it was like the way Sony reacted. I wish somebody had them on a hot mic, because it would have been like, fuck, Walmart just went ahead, just did these pre-orders real quick. What the fuck are they doing? We told these bitches that we weren't gonna have these pre-orders ready until tomorrow. What the fuck is Walmart doing? They're fucking up the formula. Like, what? Who told them to go ahead and start this pre-orders? Now everyone else, and then now it's gonna look like we're the bad guys because we told these Bamas that and Bamas is a DC thing. Go look it up. Izzy, if you're listening, you know what I'm talking about. They say it all the time in DC. So Southeast DC for life. Let's go. But yeah, that was that was crazy. That was something that Sony goofed, but it wasn't totally Sony. But at the same time, you don't tell people a day before that something is going to happen, and then, of course, one of your retailers is like, "Nope, 7 hours advance notice." So that didn't really go as planned. And then again with Microsoft, the back end was the fact that you named the console the Series X with the 1X sitting right there. And then I'm like, as far as my decisions, as far as what I'm going to get for a next gen console, I did tweet out that I was looking at the Series S as a companion to my PC. So that means I'll have more SSD as my storage. So I will definitely, through my PC, through my Series S if I were to get one, and through my PS5, because I'm not getting I'm not getting the Series X. There's no point. I'm gonna have the PS5. I have PC, and then I get the Series S. I can talk to all my friends. I can talk to all my friends now on Microsoft and on Sony, all on PC. And I'm just waiting for some of these Sony exclusives to pop out on PC. I hope not all of them, because we don't want to. But then I chimed in on this earlier because people definitely were fanboying it up for Microsoft and fanboying it up for Sony as well. They were Sony explaining, and they were Microsoft explaining each pre-order dilemma, debacle, or whatever. I'm like, Microsoft, not so much a debacle, just debacle because they couldn't name it separately, so people got confused. Sony just didn't communicate the right thing. At least they apologized. Microsoft hasn't apologized for the mistake. I mean, not mistake, but naming something close to the previous one. But that's neither here nor there. But people out here, this console war, and I said a quote on Twitter last night. I'm gonna say it again, and let me pull it back up. Excuse me. I had some delicious fruit earlier, so that was. Let me. See, this is where I need my music, because while I go silent, even though I'm kind of trying to fill air, and yes, I'm telling you guys I'm filling air, but I'm not afraid to tell you guys that. Yeah. So let me see if I can find it, because I it was a Star Wars reference. It'll pop up. It always does. Nope, not there. There we go. All right, so I found it. So basically, the quote from Twitter was, "The console wars equal the Clone Wars. Tons of epic battles, plot twists, and plot holes. There are heroes on both sides, but an underlying evil is pulling all the strings here." At the end of the day, these corporations don't give a goddamn who you cheerlead for, who you offer. People out here literally offering their free services like a bunch of whores for their corporate masters. So let's see, King David is like, I saw people fanboying an Xbox tweet about the No Man's Sky update. And you know what's funny? They were mad because they were mad. Both sides do this. People get mad until the game comes out on their console or their platform or whatever. Then they're like, That's what they do. So, like, Kids Move literally I have not seen, like, the videos I've seen of his, had not seen any Bethesda games. All of a sudden, Microsoft buys Bethesda. Well, that's what it feels like, my Bethesda or whatever. But all of a sudden, Microsoft buys Bethesda. He changes his Avi, and I agree. You don't turn down free artwork. I get it, but all of a sudden, he's the Fallout boy now. Fallout Boy Smooth. Okay, all right. I understand. But yeah, you know, these corporations don't give a goddamn about any of you guys fanboying for the console, perpetuating this console war, and at the end of the day, the evil empire shall rise. That's the way the Clone Wars ended. So Bugtesta. What would Hard 8 Bugthesda? That's what Hard 8 had mentioned, is Bugthesda, which is kind of, hey, I'm like, I wasn't really hardcore in the Bethesda game. I think the only game that I have on my Steam account is Fallout 4, and I was looking at Prey, but the Prey that I liked was made by 2K. Ooh, because the Prey that came out under Bethesda sucked. So I don't have really, and it's funny, they're literally right down the highway, Bethesda Studios. But you know, they hear me say this, yep, kiss that job goodbye. I don't work for Bethesda. I'm just saying, if I would ever think about working in their department, they'd be like, oh, you was talking, shouldn't have been talking shit. So, all right, so. Oh yeah, I forgot about Doom. Doom was like the only game that really did good. The first and second one. Only two. Other than that, Bethesda can kiss my ass. So, alright, so G-Rod was like, Doom was dope. King David is like, yeah, it's accurate. Bethesda Game Studios is buggy as hell, typically. And hopefully Microsoft can help them with their bugginess. They can apply more resources there. I'm hearing that the Bethesda is still going to operate in a semi-independent fashion, but I know as of right now, Sony has a couple of timed exclusives that were made by Bethesda or produced by Bethesda. No, I did not say anything. Bing, shut up. You know, Bing, see, okay, that's the whole listening thing. The government's always listening, but yeah. So after that, Bethesda, I'm like, which is a huge deal for Microsoft, but at the same time, exclusivity in any form is bullshit. I want to play State of Decay 2 on my PS4 as much as I like to play it on my PC. I don't need to have games exclusively on one console unless it's coming from your own studio. If you produce the game, you have a right to keep it on your console. But if you're a third-party platformer or studio or whatnot, do not enter into these exclusive deals with these companies. They don't need you to be exclusive. I'm like, Doom's a good game, but it's not selling the Xbox. Just saying. You know, if Sony were to do the same thing on the other end, let's say they were to buy EA, everyone knows that NHL is not going to sell a PlayStation. Madden may sell a PlayStation, but you're going to have to sell some souls because Madden... let's talk about Madden for a little bit, because apparently an update did push out, and people all of a sudden can't catch the ball these days. People got like, you know, stone hands, whatnot, and it's funny that an update comes out once again. And it's kind of happening on 2K. 2K puts out an update and starts breaking shit. A lot of these issues that I'm seeing on my timeline, pretty much. Are from comp play from what I'm seeing. There are probably some sim folks that are happening to people play on simulation. But other than that, I didn't buy the game this year. I haven't played it since the beta. I'm glad I didn't. buy it. I'm glad I haven't played it. I'm glad I've just found other games like Microsoft Flight Simulator, NBA 2K21, State of Decay 2, No Man's Sky with their update, NHL20, which I'm playing their franchise mode, which their franchise mode is still better than Madden's. I'm just glad I have all these other games. I'm glad I'm not stuck like some of the other cats that need Madden to get paid. Yeah, I said it. So King David is like, Doom is fucking great. Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, I haven't played it. The last Doom I played was the original Doom on the PCs back in the day. I did game on the PC back in the 90s, but that Tandy 1000 wasn't gonna hang around. So, all right. So what time we have here? It's about 9:26. I think we've been running pretty good. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the pace here. We're gonna go back to the intro screen because that's the last thing I have. I wanted to come back here because definitely wanted to bring everything to focus. So this is the part where everyone starts leaving because I started talking about politics and everybody starts crying, I want my politics and blah, 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 blah. But we're gonna talk about it. So, but let me read this comment by King David. He was like, first of all, Doug laughed. All right, so King David was like, I haven't touched Madden in a while. Too much other good shit. No Man's Sky, Flight Sim, Wasteland 3. Yep, pretty much. I'm like, those are good games. I'm like, people keep saying like gaming is dry. I was like, well, you keep playing these games in less than a week. You keep finishing these games in 1 week and you have nothing to play. That is your fault. Pace yourself. If you just before we get serious with Breonna Taylor and the situation with that, people have been gaming for decades. They know the dry parts of gaming. You typically during the summertime. This is a pattern that's been established for the last 10, 15 years. If you know that gaming is going to become dry for you at certain points, maybe you shouldn't rush through games in the beginning. Like, don't rush through them when you're playing them in the fall. Space them out. That's why I like playing franchise modes, because they allow you to space the gaming out. You can always go back to it. You can always play. You know, you take your time through a game like The Last of Us 2. That lasted me for a while. I'm like, but I think I started rushing through it because at the end, I was highly motivated to finish that game. You know, other people can go back to it if they stop midway through it. I'm going to go back to Ghost of Tsushima because that's another game that I need to go back to. There was a game that literally I dropped. Alright, so Doug is like, I love Doom in the 90s and Command & Conquer. Yeah, Command & Conquer and also Command & Conquer Red Alert was the two good ones I liked when I played on the computer. It was kind of messed up when it came out on the consoles. It just didn't seem right. You know, having to go from mouse and keyboard, all of a sudden that dumbass controller on those consoles back in the day. Remember the controllers that had like 3 buttons and there was an unfair advantage when you ran into somebody that brought over a controller? See, that's the thing. Back in the day, people used to go over people's houses to play each other. They didn't play online. And now all of a sudden you have the guy with the 6-button controller. Unfair. So, and Doug's like, no, I didn't like it on console either. Exactly. So, all right. So, see, and I'm looking at it right now. So, okay. So we had the indictment happen with Breonna Taylor. Finally, we got something as far as news, as far as her situation was concerned. Now, obviously, she's no longer with us because she was shot to death in a police shootout as the police were serving a warrant for, I guess, her ex. And they were given the address to serve that warrant because apparently her ex, I guess, was still using her address to do his business. Maybe she had some knowledge of it, but all that's irrelevant. I'm like, that's all what led the police to that address. That's it. It's not the reason they shot her. So I know the narrative that we've been given leading up to today was the fact. I remember this started out as, oh, she was asleep when she was shot to death. I was angry for the fact that I'm like, throughout this whole time I felt like she was an innocent bystander throughout the whole thing. No matter what happened, what led to the police being there, that's, to me, that's irrelevant. What's relevant is that at that moment that all that went down, she was shot, killed, and oh yeah, we'll bring that up too, Doug, because yeah, that was actually washed away. No one can say it was. No one can ever continue the narrative of it being a no-knock warrant when they mentioned in a blow-by-blow, after all that investigation, a blow-by-blow analysis of what they figured took place, according to witness testimony and stuff like that, that they knocked and announced themselves. Now, no one's saying that the people inside, Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend, heard them say who they were. They heard the knock, which that was admitted by her boyfriend, which he also admitted what proceeded next, caused Breonna's death. So yeah, the whole narrative started off, she was asleep when she was shot to death. And that got pushed out. Then I saw on the timeline, I have a balance of people with different views. On my timeline, I do have people who are Republican. I do have people that are Democratic. I do have people that are extreme left. I have people extreme right. I have Trump supporters. I kind of put Trump supporters in a separate spiel as extreme right. I don't think they're the same. But they're all on my timeline. I don't really discriminate because I'm a balanced. I feel like I'm a balanced individual. I'm a registered Democrat, but I'm not afraid to criticize my own. I'm not afraid to step out and say, hey, as much as I feel a certain way about this, if I take my emotions out of it, I could see that that's the case. So, and Doug is like, I'm an independent. Actually, my father's registered as an independent. I'm like, that's kind of, that's something that, people should be asking us questions. Why are you doing this? I remember I got bullied on Facebook because I made a statement about voting, and people didn't like what I had to say. I had a death threat veiled at me by one of my so-called friends. That was interesting. I think the lines were, I hope you don't make it through this pandemic. Yeah, that's some sick shit. To come from people that are supposedly your friends or your fellow Democrats. I was called ignorant. Somebody congratulated me for voting for Trump, and I was just like, I didn't color his box in 2016. Sure, you should be thanking Hillary Clinton for handing the election over to him. That's a different story. But yeah. All right, so the narrative went from she was asleep, she was shot while she was asleep, to now she was caught in a crossfire. Like, she literally was caught in a crossfire. She died because she was caught in a car. She was at the wrong place at the wrong time. She was caught in a crossfire. Obviously, she was shot 6 times. One fatal shot killed her within seconds. And the person, it's like, I guess they determined which shot killed her. But through trajectory forensics, which I figured that was going to be the case, because with that many shots going into the house, there was only one police officer that apparently got inside the house, because after the police knocked and announced themselves and they didn't get an answer, they used a battering ram to break in the door. So on the other side, according to the boyfriend, Taylor's boyfriend, he didn't know who they were. All of a sudden, the door busts in. I think on his viewpoint, he thinks people are coming in trying to, do something. He does. I'm like, it's in the morning, so I don't think any lights were on, so you could kind of not really see everything. I know the first cop is on record saying that he got in because no other cops actually entered the premise when the shootout took place. It was just that one cop, the boyfriend shot at him, hit the police officer in the thigh or whatever, and then a shootout proceeded. And then Breonna Taylor is caught in the crossfire. I'm like, no matter what anybody has on her beforehand, she definitely didn't deserve to be shot to death like that. But we can't be overridden with emotion and thinking that was the police using excessive force. Reckless force, but not excessive. Only because you had police officers shooting from the outside that were shooting into I'm like, that's reckless. They weren't trying to. What happened to George Floyd? He was murdered. He was choked to death. What happened to Sandra Bland? She died under mysterious circumstances. All of a sudden, they ruled her death a suicide, and she was strung up. I'm like, they ruled some of our deaths in the last 6 months. People, black males being strung up to a tree, saying that there's suicides, when we all know that's not the case. Sandra Bland's case, that's still a mystery how she apparently hung herself. The police were pissed off. They beat her up. They strung her up, make it look like a suicide. There are no cameras in there. It's just like, what's the name? Epstein. I guess it was Epstein. They ruled that a suicide. Bullshit. But anyway. But there's a difference between Sandra Bland and Breonna Taylor. And the narrative had them equal, but now with the facts coming out, they're not the same. So we can't really carry the narrative the same way. We can carry her as the innocent victim in a shootout between her boyfriend and the police officers. Apparently, the charge that they levied at the one cop who was fired doesn't have anything to do with the killing of Sandra Bland. I mean, not Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, my fault. And I can see how people are angry over that because your charges are not directly correlating to Breonna Taylor. I actually honestly thought they were because, you accidentally kill somebody. I know they talk about manslaughter, second degree murder, stuff like that. We've had people hit people and kill them in an auto incident and be charged with manslaughter and stuff like that. They didn't mean to, but it happened. I'm like, I could have seen possibly manslaughter, but with the evidence being inconclusive, I heard the Kentucky AG, in which that's another thing. That's not fair to throw that man. I mean, that's not fair. What I saw on Twitter, people literally was throwing his fiance out there in a picture, talking about it just. I hate when. That's why I kind of hate cancel culture in general, because it's just like. I could hear the struggle in that man's voice. He was trying to keep it together. And you had people on here talking about, well, he was speaking at the Trump convention. I'm like, bitch, he was investigating this thing before he spoke at the RNC. So what is the RNC? What does him speaking at the RNC have to do with the investigation that had pretty much was going on throughout that whole entire time up before the RNC? What does that have to do with anything? What does his fiance or wife, I don't know if they're married now, what does his fiance have to do with anything? Like, that was trash. And that was trash by the people that I normally are good as far, but at the same time, people are capable of being trash and garbage. When something doesn't go their way, people have the ability to just turn into garbage cans. They just become dumpster fires. They just start just throwing shit out. If I'm even thinking about it, it's like the emotions take over, and it's just like I understand the emotion aspect, but we have to rein in those emotions to look at this thing clearly. And for me, this is a case where she was caught in the crossfire. I had to repeat it. She was caught in the crossfire that was caused by a panicking boyfriend. And he admitted he said he shot first. I'm sure the reason was he thought people were trying to break into his home, especially with one cop's breaking in. You don't see all the others. You see the one. So, if I'm him, I'm thinking the same thing. But if I'm that police officer that just got shot by the dude, and you know why you're there, but that dude doesn't know why you're there, but you take that away and you're like, oh, you shot me, I gotta shoot back. It's like instantaneous. Then everyone else starts shooting because, cops could be lemmings when it comes to, situations. If one cop shoots, everyone shoots. And they shoot from wherever. So stuff just needs to change. Policing needs to change. How we go about dealing with situations, understanding that police brutality does exist. Excessive force against black and brown people does exist. It does exist. But we also have to be able to see where it doesn't exist in certain situations. This was a case where it was more recklessness on the police officers to shoot blindly into a house. That's reckless. Now, like I said, I could see possibly manslaughter, but I don't see an intent to kill. I saw, and again, according to the witness statements, I saw more of a, okay, they shot at us, we shot back. We see it, I'm like, it happens on the streets. It's like gang warfare. I always believed the cops were it's like the military cops in the streets. All gang warfare. You shoot at us, we shoot back. That's the mentality, unfortunately. So let me get to these comments, because I think after this we're definitely gonna wrap it up. So let's see. So King David is like, people have a tantrum problem. Like, I get people are upset, but you have to separate the feelings from facts, and that's true. Doug is like, they need more training, and that's also true. The both can exist in the same. See, people operate on this happens or this happens. It's not this and this happens, or one could happen, then the other can happen. People don't believe in cause and effect for some reason. They believe that if they can push a narrative that fits along with the other stuff that turned out to be more legit, like the other stuff, Sandra Bland, George Floyd, that's more legit than what happened with Breonna Taylor, as far as seeing where police brutality and excessive force lead to, and the chances of it happen higher with us than they do with other people. Don't let anybody tell you that, more white people, it happens to more white people. I'm like, that's a different type of statistic. You're talking about totality, which there are more white people in this country than there are minorities. That's going to change. But if we're talking about black, you're talking about African Americans, it's more likely to happen to us. But because we are a smaller percentage, we will never outnumber in the totality stats. So anybody tries to use the totality stats, then kiss my ass. And also, don't ever use black on black crime to go against any argument, anybody, especially with black lives. Because here's the thing. You heard of crime of proximity? it's a whole history why that happens, why there's so much black on black crime. And it's not because we're bad towards one another, it's because we're stuck in these goddamn raggedy ass places with a lack of opportunity and nothing but desperation surrounding us. So when they say stuff like defund the police, they're not talking about getting rid of the police. They're talking about just diverting money that normally goes to police overtime, because police moonlight, for God's sakes. They get overtime because they do a lot of stuff. And it's like, it's talking about investing into mental health, investing into programs, rec centers, education centers, not jail cells. So just like anybody else does, when they look at their budget and they're like, oh, I've spent a lot of money eating out today and maybe I should cook more, they take money away from eating out and they put it into their grocery shopping list. The money just doesn't go away like that. So, but yeah, that whole crime of proximity has a long history with black on black crime. So that's why the black on black crime argument never should work in any situation. Don't tell us about black on black crime. The people that are in power are the ones that put us in a situation where that could happen, because there is white on white crime. That is also a crime of proximity. Happens with poor whites. Y'all treat them like shit too. That's why they voted for Trump. Think about it. If you're being left out in the cold, you become desperate and you'll do anything. So, all right. So let me see what we got here. All right. So we definitely had a conversation that I want to catch up on. If the facts don't line up with okay, wait a minute. I know it said they need more training. Antonio was like, yep. King David was like, if the facts don't line up with your narrative, you admit you were mistaken, not throw a fit. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, no one likes to take L's. I'm like, we seen VF take L's all last night, and that was, and you know, he took it in stride. He's not afraid of taking L. I'm not afraid of taking L. I've taken L's on the show. Bills is definitely taking some L's on the show. So I'm like, Spectacular Pooh, he ever appears on here, I know he's a mod on here, and he's probably lurking, but he's taking mad L's, especially with the Eagles going 0-2. And no more Rager bombs, because he's going to be out for a while, so it's going to be D-Jax bombs, and he may get hurt too. Or he may mentally check out, whatever the case may be. Carson washed order, that's what will be the case. All right, so let's continue on in the chat, because we got a good one in here. Let's see. Oh God, going too fast. Yeah, and technically he could raid and put, but before I went live, I was what they call it? I was hosting his stream. So when I went live, obviously I went. It took away from hosting, but you know what will probably happen when I go offline? He'll probably still be streaming, and I will be hosting again. So let me get back to this comment, because this is one thing I definitely like to do, especially with you guys here in the chat, is that I definitely like to highlight you guys and get you guys, you know, your conversation is pretty good going on right now, and it's like that synergy that goes. So let's keep going, because it's interesting what I'm seeing in the chat, and I appreciate you guys. So okay, so let me go back. Where was I? They need more training. King David was like, if the facts don't line up with your narrative, you admit you were mistaken, not throw a fit. And then Doug was like, and they need to give these officers a deeper psych test in the academy too. I don't think they need to give them so much in the academy. I think it needs to happen more often while they're out in the field. Overzealous police officers is a mental thing. So you can imagine police officer stress levels ultra high. They could die at any moment. Like, we seen what happened with the person that walked up on the two police officers, shot them in the head. I don't know if they're dead. They were in, last I remember. If anybody can update that for me, please do. But they literally were targeted. So, and see, and that's the balance. I'm like, I can sit here and say, hey, you got the police out here. You have your good ones. I know out here in Howard County, we got some good ones up here. I know. I have friends on the police force, and they out here they do good work. But I also understand that out here is a little different than every place else. We literally have a utopia. We have blacks, whites, we have rich, poor. We have all this going on here in Howard County, in Columbia, Maryland, and it's like a utopia / bubble. And I understand it's not like this every place else. So, I wish people could experience what I see. And I feel like people would be more at ease if they were living in an environment as the one I live in, because places like this there are opportunities. There are poor people here, but they don't feel it. They don't feel poor. They may feel underprivileged a bit, but there's a difference. I can deal with being underprivileged, but I'm not in a shithole. So, all right. So let me, because I know I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff. Let me go back. Okay, that was the psych test. Okay, and Doug was like before they hit the street. Okay, King David was like, people are also quick to jump the gun before all the statistics or facts come out. That is true, because we are in a society where we want quick results. We want everything now. Give it to me as soon as possible. No, now. That's the way our mentality works. No one likes to be patient. And that's crazy. So, all right. So Doug was like, that's their favorite thing to bring up when they are puzzled in a debate. What about black on black crime? Never fails. Yeah. I'm like, you almost expect it to pop up in a conversation when you're talking stats. And I'm like, yeah, I acknowledge those stats, but do you acknowledge why they exist in the first place? I'm like, why are we the only ones there? There's a thing called redlining. Look it up. Let's see. King David was like, my view is longer training with more focus on dealing with armed and unarmed situations. I don't think length of training may be the trick. We have to have, because certain situations you're gonna need somebody that's good at evaluating psychology. That's good in psychology is being able to evaluate somebody in a high stress situation on the fly. Police officers are not in the realm to judge psychology on the fly. It's like serve, protect, and if they have to, well, this is what it's supposed to be. Serve, protect, and if they have to, shoot. And that's the way it's supposed to be, but that mentality changes depending on the person they encounter, and also depending on the skin tone in cases that I've noticed, and statistics too. So let me see. So King David, okay, he was telling me that Pooh was streaming at the moment. That was when I was talking about him lurking, possibly. Antonio was like, I think there's good police officers where I'm at. Yeah, see, another statistic in totality that is fair is that there are more good police officers than there are bad officers. The problem is that because of this blue wall, this code of silence that is not just in the police force, it's also in the military. That would explain all the sexual harassment cases that are coming out of the military that just happen to pop up. It's because people keep their mouth shut. because they don't want to be the person they root out. I forgot the movie that came out, but the one of the soldiers were issued a code. I think it was it A Few Good Men. They issued a code red on a soldier because they thought he was weak. He was the weak link, and they needed to get rid of him. It's kind of how they look at officers when the officer is a snitch. It's kind of like what happens in the streets. And that's why people don't like snitches. That is a mentality that takes place everywhere. So, excuse me. All right, so let's see. So, Doug is like, out here in Arizona, we have some good cops too. My buddy is one. Yeah, I'm like, they're all over the place, but they're afraid to speak because, again, code of silence, blue wall. In the military has the same thing. In any profession where you have to rely on the next person for your survivability, there is an unwritten code of silence when shit goes left. It does happen. It does exist. It's unfortunate. It was meant to protect, but it's been doing more harm than good. So that needs to balance out. And once that balance out, and then once the police are policing in a different way, and as soon as there's facilities available for this change to happen, because this change is not just going to happen with the police, it's also going to happen with the money, that where the money goes. Where the money goes has to change too. I'm like, we can't just have more police on the streets. More police just means that stress is going to build up. I'm like, you don't need less police, you don't need more. Keep the number of police where they are, but increase the number of activity centers. Increase the number of opportunities, jobs. Increase educational opportunities. Make it available for everyone and everywhere. Not just in the suburbs, not just in the downtown areas where the uptown areas are kind of like run down. Like in Baltimore, you have your rundown parts. But downtown is looking pristine right about now. What Trump said about, Baltimore, because, he doesn't like black people, and that is a fact, because, he doesn't like black people that don't serve him. Let's just keep it a buck. He doesn't like black people that serve him. So, the district that he called run down is my district. I took that personally because my district has been ran very well. I'm not in Baltimore City. District 7 in Maryland is way bigger than Baltimore. Way bigger. Basically, Trump, even though he's aiming at Baltimore, that technically is not. District 7 is not all of Baltimore. It's all of Howard County, and I'm like, we don't have any fucked up places in Howard County. So Elijah Cummings has been doing a great job over the years. Kwesi Fume being given the position. Hopefully he keeps it, because Casey Classic or whatever her name is, she looks fake. I would tell that to her in her face. I'm like, because first of all, she comes out of nowhere, and then I look at the numbers. She's not gonna win. She's not gonna win because she doesn't have enough votes. And Trump supporting her with this crowd that we have out here, she's not gonna win. We don't see her representing the 7th District of Maryland. We trust Kwesi Fume. She's not going to win. So she can say bye-bye to that. She can go run whatever business into the ground that she previously ran. So that's that. All right, and King David. I think we're at the end. We're running out of steam here, but we're going to get King David in here. It says part of it, too, is the media. Let's face it, bad news gets way more clicks than good news. The media is business, so they follow that. The media is slanted on both sides. Fox covers Republicans, CNN covers Democrats. That's just, unfortunately, the way news is ran. The way news used to be ran, they used to just tell you what happened. They gave you few opinions and left it up for the people to decide. It's not that way no more. That's why I can't really watch CNN. Sometimes I watch Fox. I've actually stopped really watching the independent news because, what's that one? The Young Turks. They started being slanted in their coverage. Like, they really didn't like Tulsi Gabbard. I thought that was interesting. I would think they would want a female of color to, and young, to represent, the new generation of politicians. But no, they wanted old ass Elizabeth Warren, who likes to stab people in the back. Man, I swear, people like reruns. But anyway, all right, we're gonna wrap it up there because they're gonna have, like, Biden and Trump are gonna have this debate next week. It's gonna be hilarious. I hope somebody gets smacked in the face. I think a fight will break out at that event. I think Trump may get taken out at that point. Like, because the man, even though he's like 6'2", 260 something pounds, god damn, he's obese as fuck. He talking about he's healthy. I don't know about that. Biden isn't healthy either, but that's a different story. Alright, so yeah, Doug is like, I try not to watch the news. King David's like, I bounce around multiple independent commentators. And Doug is like, I like The Hill. They seem more balanced. Yeah, I watched The Hill. I think I've really picked up on them exclusively because they go after everybody. And that's what I want. I want somebody to be critical of everybody. Be even. Be neutral. We need balance in this whole society. Right now, we're an unbalanced society. And what happens when you're unbalanced? You fall. It's just that simple. And people need to wise up. So, with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up here. I definitely appreciate everybody coming through. Antonio was like, that would be funny. So I definitely appreciate everybody coming through. It's now 10:02, so we definitely have ran the full gambit. So I'm definitely going to get on some No Man's Sky on the PC. So King David, if you're on there, jump into normal mode. So if you die, you can always respawn. G-Rob was here earlier. Definitely get that No Man's Sky so we can all play. I think I have you on my PS4 playlist, so I definitely find you. So let me go through. So Doug was here. I'm just run through names and then just overall thank you. So, Doug was here. Antonio. Oh, no problem, Doug. I'm glad you're here. So we got Doug's here. Antonio was here. King David. And y'all definitely had an interesting conversation back and forth. So it's also good that you guys are talking to each other in the chat. It's not just me talking to you. I'm like, actually, I feel like I'm a part of the conversation, even though I'm the one that's being, that one that's on camera. So again, Antonio, Doug, King David, G-Rob was here. I think you guys were it for tonight, which, again, I appreciate. It seemed like there were more people here, but they chose to lurk in the background. So again, thank you guys for coming through. I definitely appreciate you guys. Episode 3 will be back next week. Do I plan to stream? I know this is a random question that just popped up in my head. I know somebody will probably ask that question. Do I plan to stream on Twitch again later this week? I think I'm gonna. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on the No Man's Sky series. So there's not gonna be another stream on Twitch this week. I'm gonna just save it here. Plus, you guys are gonna see me tomorrow on First and Frame Rates anyway. So it's not like I'm going away for the week. That's after Thursday. Once Thursday hits, after Thursday's done, you won't see me again until Tuesday. So I like to just once again let you guys know, First and Frame Rates goes live 7:30 ish. So sometimes we do 7:45, sometimes we do 8 o'clock. On YouTube with VF, Bills, myself. We talk sports and sports video gaming, and we go live on YouTube. So you guys that were already here in the chat, you guys know where you can find it. It's on VF's channel. Again, First and Frame Rates. And for anybody who views this in the archives, that's where the live podcast is. So we've been doing that podcast for quite some time. So, and we definitely have a Patreon. Definitely check out the description in VF's channel. I'm gonna try to get it on his Twitch. I mean, not Twitch. Well, just his Twitch, and I'm gonna get it on his Twitter to post a Patreon. So if you guys want to donate, it's up to you guys. We appreciate the support, no matter what you do. If you choose to be a part of the Patreon, great. We appreciate that. If you don't, the fact that you guys are here listening, that's the best thing. I'm like, just keep that up. We need to keep that up. We need to keep you guys interested, and that's what we're here for. So try to give you guys something different. And then in the individual streams, VF got his own mirage of things that he likes to do. So you guys get a chance to see that. And I'm trying to kick up on my end individually to give you guys a little different side. I know you guys don't really hear from me much during the streams. I kind of am more controlled, more like calculating when I speak. And it's for the obvious reasons. There's 3 of us, and I'm the type that allows people to talk. Because I'm like that, like if I'm a TV interviewer or a reporter and I ask a question and the guy is just like into it, or they're just like into the answer and there's nothing, they're on a good streak, I just let them keep going. So whenever Bills and VF are on that streak, Big Zay was on the show last night. So, I put in my shots. I speak when I need to speak. But definitely on here, you'll see more, you'll hear more, and you'll get more variety as far as the topics. Because even though people like to lead during the politics section, I am not afraid to talk about it. So, and you'll see it on Twitter as well. So again, I thank you guys. I think it's safe to play us out. So we are going to do that. Yeah, I appreciate it, Doug. So again, I'm gonna play ourselves out. So good night, be safe, don't do anything I wouldn't do, and get on that No Man's Sky. Peace.